All right, question 22. Solve x squared equals 4 brackets x minus 3 all squared. Right, so the first thing we're going to need to do is write out x minus 3 all squared in full. X minus 3 in brackets all squared means that. So always write it out. Okay. And now we have to multiply out these brackets. But there's a 4 here complicating things. Don't do too much at once. Insert your own brackets here like that, so you can multiply out these two brackets and leave the 4 alone. Don't do too much at once. So we get x squared equals 4, and then we can just concentrate on this bracket multiplication. So that times that is x squared, that times that is minus 3x, that times that is minus 3x, and that times that, minus 3 times minus 3 is plus 9. Okay? Therefore, x squared equals 4 brackets, gather like terms, minus 3x is minus 6x. So we've got x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay? And now we can multiply out this bracket with the 4. Therefore, x squared equals 4x squared. 4 times minus 6x is minus 24x. 4 times 9 is 36. Okay? Right. We've got an x squared here and a 4x squared there. So let's take this x squared over here to gather like terms. So we're going to subtract x squared from both sides. It's just subtracting x squared from both sides. X squared minus x squared is 0. 4x squared minus x squared is 3x squared. Then this is untouched. Okay, so we've got a quadratic equation here, equals 0. When you get to this stage, always check if you can simplify and make these numbers smaller. Check if they have a common factor, and they do. They're all divisible by 3. So we divide both sides by 3. Okay, 0 divided by 3 is 0. 3x squared divided by 3 is x squared. Minus 24x divided by 3 is minus 8x. And 36 divided by 3 is 12. Okay, therefore 0 equals. Now we could put this into the quadratic formula to work out the two values of x. There are two solutions to this equation because it's quadratic. But don't dive straight into the quadratic formula. Always check first if you can factorize. And it turns out that this factorizes nicely. So to factorize this, we're looking for two numbers that go here and here that multiply to give plus 12 and add to give minus 8. Well, it's just x squared, so we can write down straight away x and x there. Now, these two numbers, they have to multiply to give 12, plus 12. Okay. They multiply to give that number, and they add to give that number. Okay, how about 3 and 4? Well, they have to add to give minus 8, so minus 3 and minus 4? No, that gives minus 7, not minus 8. What else multiplies to give 12? 2 and 6. Ah! Well, it can't be plus 2 and plus 6 because we need a minus here. So how about minus 2 and minus 6? Minus 2 and minus 6 do multiply to give plus 12, and minus 2 minus 6. Minus 2 plus minus 6 is minus 8. We've done it. So it's minus 2 and minus 6. Okay, just to double check, x times x is x squared, x times minus 6 is minus 6x, minus 2 times x is minus 2x, so total of minus 8x, and minus 2 to minus 6 is plus 12. Yeah, it works. So we factorised it. So we've done it. X is 2 and x is 6. Those are the solutions. If you have two things, these two brackets, multiplied together and the answer is 0, that means either this one is 0 or that one is 0. So, therefore, either x minus 2 is 0, so x is 2, that's one of the answers, or x minus 6 is 0, so therefore x is 6. Okay, that's it. Now, I'm going to show you a second way of doing this. Did you notice what the alternative method is at the beginning? If you look at this, you've got x squared, 4 and some brackets squared. Did you notice that you can square root all these three terms? Well, that's one term, all these three things. You can square root x squared, you can square root 4, it's 2, and you can square root this, it's just x minus 3. So we can use that. So let's start again. X squared equals 4 x minus 3 all squared. Therefore, let's rewrite the 4 as 2 squared x minus 3 squared. Okay, now, does that make it clearer? That can be square rooted, so can that, and so can that. So let's take the square root of both sides. Therefore, square root of x squared is x. Square root of 2 squared is 2. And the square root of x minus 3 all squared is just x minus 3. Now, when you take the square root, there's actually two possible answers. The plus and the minus. The square root of x squared is either, I mean, x is a solution, but minus x is also a solution. Because minus x times minus x is x squared. So we have to bear that in mind. Like down here, you get two solutions to a quadratic. We've only got one equation there. We must need another one. So we can say that that is definitely true, but we can also write down a second solution and say that minus x is equal to this. Because when you take square root of x squared, you can get x or minus x. But hang on, isn't that true of that side as well? Yes, it is. So we can also get x equals the negative version of this, minus 2x minus 3. Now hang on, what about this other one when x is negative as well? So aren't there 4 possible solutions to this, not just 2? Well, actually, these two, this one and this one, are the same, because if minus x equals minus 2x minus 3, to multiply both sides by minus 1, and we get that. And that are the same. So we can not discount this one, but we've already got it there. And it's the same with these two, they're the same. Multiply this, both sides, by minus 1, and we get that, which is the same as that. So actually, there are still only 2 solutions, which is good. There should be only 2. So here they are. So for this one, we have x equals, multiply out the brackets, 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Okay, bring the 2x over here by subtracting 2x on both sides. Subtract 2x from both sides, and we get x minus 2x is minus x, and 2x minus 2x is 0, minus 6. Multiply both sides by minus 1, x is 6. Same as that. Okay, that's that one. Now this one, we have minus x equals 2x minus 3. Multiply out the bracket. Therefore, minus x equals 2x minus 6. Bring this 2x over here, so subtract 2x on both sides. Minus x minus 2x is minus 3x. They cancel, equals minus 6. Multiply both sides by minus 1, and we get 3x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3, and we get x equals 6. X equals 2. There we go. X equals 2 and x equals 6. X equals 2 and x equals 6. Both perfectly acceptable methods. Pick your favourite. I think I made this one look more complicated than it is. I wrote out the 4 possible solutions because I wanted to give you the full picture, but in an exam, you would just write down these 2. There's no need to write this down in the exam at all. Having written that one down, just change one of the sides to minus and leave the other alone, and you get the right answer. So leave this side alone. In both cases, it says plus 2 times x minus 3, but just write 1 plus x and 1 minus x on the other side. Yeah.